Good morning students, welcome to today's class. In our previous class, we discussed about the harmful effects of microorganisms, and in that the last topic was about how microorganisms can spoil the food. Now if you remember in your first chapter where you have discussed that how storage is important, means number of times when crop is harvested then it is stored, and when it is not stored properly it can lead to spoilage of the crop, the spoilage of food, leading to the shortage of food. So it is very important to store the food properly so that there should be no shortage. Now why we should be concerned about it? You know that every day the population of the world is growing, and due to the population the land which is for the cultivation is reducing day by day, reducing the space where the food can be grown properly. Now if there is less food and the people who are more who can consume the food, then there will be shortage of food, which we are facing right now. Means in India 40% of Indian population is living under the poverty line. They are hardly getting 3 meals per day. मतलब वो एक दिन में शायद पूरे 3 meals भी नहीं खा पाते हैं जैसे कि हम खाते हैं, जो हम अफोर्ड कर सकते हैं. And the biggest reason is that whatever food is grown is not stored properly and it get perished because of the shortage, shortcomings. Means ढंग से जो है स्टोरेज ना करने के कारण कई बार कई तरह के जो खाने की चीजें हैं, पेरिशेबल आइटम्स हैं, जिनमें जो जल्दी खराब होने वाली चीजें हैं, जैसे फ्रूट्स हैं, वेजिटेबल्स हैं, जो मीट होता है, इफ इट इज नॉट स्टोर्ड प्रॉपरली इट कैन perished. So in this topic we are going to discuss that how we can minimize the action of microorganism which is leading to the spoilage of food, and this is done not from today. This is something which is done from the very previous time. Means from in early time also the people used to store their food by drying, by and fermentation. They used to store the food. So nowadays there are a lot of other methods also. We are going to discuss that one by one. So today's topic is preservation of food. Now before moving towards what are the different techniques which is used for the preservation, let's discuss why it is important. What is the importance of preservation of food? What are the importance of preservation of food? Now the very first and important point will be that it reduces the wastage. Means if we are properly storing the things, we are minimizing the spoilage of the food. Means if we are properly storing the food, we are reducing the wastage. Second is ensuring availability of food all around the year and at every place. Now what it means? It means that since you know that in your first chapter you may have studied that not every crop is available all around the year. Means हर एक crop हर पूरे साल में हमेशा नहीं मिलता है. So if we are ensuring that we are implanting proper storage techniques, then we can use that food product for the next season also when it is not available. And not only that, not only it is available all around the year but also can be available to every place where it's not grown properly. Means जहाँ पे नहीं होता है वहाँ पर भी अगर हम स्टोरेज करें तो हम वहाँ पे सप्लाई कर सकते हैं. So availability of food all around the year and at every place. The next point is it increases the storage or shelf life. means it is increasing the storage period of the food. Means if something is perished in 2 to 3 weeks and if we are preserving it, then we can increase its storage period, making sure that food is available for a longer period of time. And the last point is tackling dietary inadequacies. Now what it means? It means that number of times even if people are eating proper food, but they are not taking the nutrients in a proper amount, because maybe that is not available in that particular area or in that particular season. So if we are preserving the food, then we can make up with this thing that whatever nutrient is not available can be made available through the preservation technique. So these are four main importance of the preservation, where the wastage is reduced, where the it is made sure that the food is available all around the year and at every place, plus storage period is also increased, and if the nutrients are lacking in the food of some place, it can be made available by storing food somewhere and providing that food to that particular place, to the particular people. So now we will move to the techniques of preservation. Now some of the techniques which were used in early times are, one of the most common is sun drying, which you may have seen at your home. Means अगर शायद आपने अपने घरों में देखा होगा, तो जब भी चीजें अवेलेबल होती हैं उनको सुखा करके, धूप में सुखा करके उनको प्रिजर्व किया जाता है. मोस्ट कॉमन टेक्निक्स जो है वो इस्तेमाल होती है. दैट इज हाउ इट कैन बी not only preserved, but it also helps to tackle with the attack of the pest or insect. So there are more techniques to it. We'll discuss that in the next topic. Now let's discuss about the different techniques of preservation which is used commonly at home or on a large basis. Now one of the very common technique which is used is sun drying or dehydration. Now the first technique which is used commonly is sun drying or dehydration. Now what this means? Now since we have discussed enough about microorganisms and how they are growing and in which places they are available, you may have noticed that microorganisms are available or can breed easily into those places which are warm, which are humid. Means moisture is their friend. So any place, anything which is having moisture into it, there it is inviting the microorganism to it. So the first important thing of preservation is that to remove that moisture, to remove that water content from the food, so that microorganisms are not getting chance to grow on it. So that sun drying or dehydration technique is used. Now this you may have seen very commonly at home, where before making of pickle, the pieces of mangoes are sun dried, or fenugreek leaves are sun dried, which is also called as kasuri methi. Many food like the florets of cauliflower is also sun dried. Not only the fruits or vegetables are sun dried, but also the meat and fish is also sun dried in all those places where they are found in abundance. Means coastal area का जो जगह है वहां पर, क्योंकि फिश बहुत कॉमन मिलती है एंड बहुत एविडेंस में मिलती है, ज्यादा मात्रा में मिलती है, वहां पर फिश को भी सन ड्राई करके या मीट को सन ड्राई करके, जहां पर प्रोसेस को इनिशिएट किया जाता है सॉल्ट डाल करके, ताकि जो वाटर है, जो मॉइस्चर है वो निकल जाए, एंड देन इट कैन बी प्रिजर्व्ड फॉर लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. So one of the most common and oldest method is sun drying or dehydration technique. Next is heating or smoking. In this technique, fruits or vegetables are heated to that extent so that the moisture is dried up, and then they are stored for a longer period of time. So what it is doing again, it is removing the moisture, the water content from the food, so that it can be kept for longer period of time. if you observe that if a fruit or if a vegetable is kept at home without any preservation or without any storage, then it may get ripen up very fast and get spoiled up in 3 to 4 days. But if we are using any technique like drying it or making it into any kind of food, other kind of food, it may stay for a longer period of time. So heating or smoking is just heating the food item so that the moisture is dried up and it can be stored for a longer period of time. Then there is a use of salt and sugar. When the fishermen are going into the sea to catch fish, they're generally staying in the water for around 3 to 4 months, sometimes 6 months. And whatever they are catching from the sea cannot be returned back to the mainland and then can preserve. They cannot wait for that much period of time. So what they are doing, they are just preserving the fish in the ship itself by adding lots and lots of salt. So what salt is doing, excessive salt is used with the fish. It is keeping the fish fresh till it is being sold when they are reaching back to the mainland. तो क्या कर रहे हैं यहाँ पर फिश जो पकड़ी जाती है ओशन से, वहां पर फिश को लंबे समय तक के लिए प्रिजर्व करने के लिए बहुत ही ज्यादा मात्रा में जो है सॉल्ट ऐड किया जाता है, जो उसको सड़ने नहीं देता है। ना सिर्फ सॉल्ट बल्कि शुगर का भी इस्तेमाल किया जाता है प्रिजर्वेशन के लिए, जहां पे शुगर सिरप जो आपके घर में जिसको हम चाशनी कहते हैं, चाशनी के अंदर चीजों को, फ्रूट्स को, वेजिटेबल्स को स्टोर किया जाता है so that they can be used for a longer period of time. So what it is done here, again the moisture is removed because there is sugar content, 68% of sugar होना चाहिए उस चाशनी में, उस शुगर सिरप में, जिससे वो लंबे समय तक फूड आइटम स्टोर हो सके। नेक्स्ट कम्स यूज ऑफ केमिकल्स। Now various type of chemicals are used to store food which are made like sauce or jams or jellies. But few of the common ones, chemicals which are used are sodium benzoate, and the next chemical is sodium metabisulfite. These are preservatives which are used to keep the sauce preserved for longer period of time. Although sauce is already preserved by just converting the food into different food item, but to make it stay for a longer period of time, the chemicals are added. Now apart from that comes boiling, which you may have seen at your home, how the milk is boiled to kill the microorganism that is present into it. Thus the boiling can also be a very good preservation technique. Next is pasteurization. Discovered by Louis Pasteur, pasteurization is one of the very common methods which we are using at a daily basis. Means we are not using daily basis, but if you are buying milk which is coming in a packets, then that milk is pasteurized milk. अगर आपके घरों में पैकेट वाले दूध आते हैं तो नोटिस करिएगा उसके ऊपर pasteurized milk लिखा होता है. So what is pasteurization? Pasteurization is heating of milk to very high temperature for some minutes and then cooling it suddenly. So what is happening? The milk which is first boiled and then cooled will kill all the microorganisms present into it and will preserve. It will help the milk to be preserved for a time so that it can be easily transported to various places. So this method is preserving the milk by the pasteurization method. Other methods which are very commonly used are canning. Now this method is very common these days. What is happening in this method? Canning means use of cans. Now this method is a very common method which is very good for those people who are living in those places where the food is not available at regular basis. Means if they're living in extreme cold climates, or if the food is not generally grown in these places, it can be very helpful for them. Because what is happening in this case, that every type of food item, whether it is fruit, vegetables, or meat, fish, or half processed food, half cooked food, blanched food, all can be kept in cans. The tin cans or aluminium cans are used here. The food is then kept into it, either raw or blanched or half cooked, and it is sealed tight. And this can stay for a longer period of time. So if someone is living in a place which is having no supply of daily vegetables or daily meat, this is very helpful. Just open the tin can, take out the food from it. Now if you're living in plain areas, you may not experience the food so much, but I'll give you some example where you can see canning in your daily basis. One is the sweets which are packed into these tin cans, like rasgulla. अगर आपने रसगुल्ला के कैंस देखे होंगे तो वो कैनिंग का प्रोसेस है. इसके अलावा आजकल मशरूम्स या फिर स्वीट कॉर्न भी जो है कैन में पैक होकर के आते हैं. कोल्ड ड्रिंक्स को भी कैन में पैक किया जाता है. ऑल्दो क्योंकि हम प्लेन एरियाज में रहते हैं, वी डोंट नीड दिस काइंड ऑफ फूड बिकॉज वी कैन इजिली गेट फूड at regular basis, but still canning is used at our place. So canning is also one of the method by which the food can be preserved. Apart from this, use of vinegar. Vinegar is a very good preservative. Vinegar or citric acid or lime juice is a very good preservative which can store your food, like the fruits or vegetables, for longer period of time. In making pickles making pickles and using vinegar can increase the storage period of the food, and thus the preservation techniques can help to store the food for a longer period of time. Now let's move to the last topic of this chapter, that is a nitrogen cycle. Now why we are studying about nitrogen cycle? Nitrogen, which is present in 78% in our atmosphere, is the most abundant gas found in atmosphere. But unfortunately, nitrogen cannot be used in this form. Like we can use oxygen directly by inhaling it, but we cannot use nitrogen. But we need nitrogen because we need nitrogen for our DNA, that is our genetic material. We need nitrogen as a protein, and therefore it is required for many vital activities. So how to use nitrogen? Here comes the use of microorganisms, especially bacteria. Bacteria help in nitrogen cycle so much that we cannot exclude the importance of microorganism without discussing about nitrogen cycle. So I'm going to discuss about nitrogen cycle. Nitrogen cycle is actually a biogeochemical cycle. It is a cycle where we are studying about the nutrients, how it is used and it is getting back to the atmosphere. Means all the nutrients, nature actually has this kind of mechanism that all the nutrients we are using are used by the living organism, and then they are getting back to the atmosphere to be used again. So there is a complete cycle which is going on. So what is happening in case of nitrogen, which is present as atmospheric nitrogen as N2, cannot be used in this form. So it need to be fixed. Now what is the meaning of fixing? Is converting the insoluble compounds of nitrogen into soluble compounds. So the first step of nitrogen cycle is nitrogen fixation. So the atmospheric nitrogen has to be fixed by the process called nitrogen fixation. So what is nitrogen fixation? It is the process by which atmospheric nitrogen is converted into soluble forms which can be used by the living organism. Now nitrogen fixation is done by three ways. It is done by biological method, it is done by atmospheric method, and it is done by industrial method. There are more methods. Like in case of biological method, rhizobium bacteria you may have heard about rhizobium bacteria. They are found in the root nodules of leguminous plants. The leguminous plants are those plants which are the pulses plants, means those plants which gives us protein are called as leguminous plants. The root nodules means the nodules present in the root of the leguminous plant is where the rhizobium bacteria is present. It catches the atmospheric nitrogen and mix it into the soil into its soluble form. Not only rhizobium bacteria but cyanobacteria also helps in the fixation of nitrogen. So the bacteria are helping in the fixation of nitrogen. Apart from that, atmospheric nitrogen fixation is also done during the process of lightning. Means when we do hear the thunder and during storm lightning is happening. So what is happening? Due to high pressure and temperature, the atmospheric nitrogen is mixing with oxygen to form the oxides of nitrogen, and that's how the atmospheric nitrogen fixation is done. The next one is industrial method of nitrogen fixation, where nitrogen is converted into ammonia. So here the nitrogen is fixed here. The similar method, the nitrogen is fixed by all this method. Apart from this, nitrogen is also fixed by adding of the nitrogenous fertilizer directly into the soil. So this is how the nitrogen is converted from insoluble form to soluble form. Now why it is important? Why nitrogen fixation is important? Nitrogen fixation is important because we cannot use this insoluble form. We can use only soluble form. We means I'm not saying about human beings. We means the plants. The plants only can use nitrogen in its form. The human beings or other animals have to use it from the plants. So it is moving from the plants to the animals and then only we can use it. So this is about the nitrogen fixation. So after nitrogen fixation, what is the next step? The next step is assimilation of nitrogen. Nitrogen assimilation. Nitrogen assimilation means using of nitrogen by the living organism. Means here nitrogen fixation is done by various methods. Then it is used by the plants and further by the animals. So nitrogen assimilation is usage of nitrogen into different vital activities like using it into DNA or for growth purpose. All this thing is being done by in the process of nitrogen assimilation. Then comes the next method, that is ammonification. Ammonification, as you can see from the term, is the conversion of the compounds produced after the process of nitrogen assimilation into ammonia. Now what is happening here? We are eating plants. From plants, the animals, various type of animals are getting nitrogen and they're using into their different activities. Then when plants and animals are dying, then after the process of decomposition, the compounds of nitrogen is converting back into the simpler substances and then it is converting into ammonia. So that is how the conversion of nitrogenous compounds into ammonia. So that is ammonification. So ammonification here, it is again converting back into simpler substances like ammonia, And here also bacteria help in the process of ammonification. One is Pseudomonas and another one is Clostridium. So what is happening again here? Once the plants are dying, the simpler substances are produced and then it is again used. So the cycle is forming here also, and after ammonification, the nitrogen which is not used convert into other forms by the process of nitrification. So after ammonification comes the process of nitrification. Now what is nitrification? Now here we have seen that the nitrogenous compounds are converting into ammonia. So after ammonia, the conversion takes place to nitrites, that is NO2, and after that it converts back into nitrates. So ammonia is converted into nitrites, then into nitrates. Here also the bacteria is playing very important role. Here where ammonia is converting into nitrite, nitrosomonas are playing role, whereas in the case of the conversion of nitrite into nitrate, nitrobacter plays a role. So nitrification is conversion of ammonia into nitrite and then into nitrate. Now after this comes the last process, that is denitrification. So after comes the process of denitrification. Now what is happening in the case of denitrification? Nitrate is converting into atmospheric nitrogen. So the atmospheric nitrogen which was used here and it was going through a cycle is converting back into nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, and again here many bacteria help like Clostridium and Achromobacter. So as you can see, in all the 5 steps of nitrogen cycle, bacteria are playing a vital role in helping the nitrogen cycle going smooth. So this is why the bacteria are very important in nitrogen cycle. I am repeating the main steps again. Nitrogen cycle comprises of 5 main steps. First is the nitrogen fixation, that is conversion of the insoluble atmospheric nitrogen into soluble compound. Then it is used by the plants and then by the animals by the process of nitrogen assimilation. Once the plants and animals are dying, they are mixing with the soil and they are decomposed into simpler substances by the process of ammonification. After ammonification comes the nitrification, where ammonia is converted into nitrite and then into nitrate, and then nitrate is converting into atmospheric nitrogen by the process of denitrification. So this is all about the nitrogen cycle. Now I'm going to simplify the nitrogen cycle for you. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to write the 5 steps here and the definition of it and the bacteria which are involved into it. Do write that into your notebook. That will be easy for you to understand the nitrogen cycle. So nitrogen cycle I'm going to write the step, definition, and bacteria involved. So very first is nitrogen fixation. So what was nitrogen fixation? The conversion of insoluble atmospheric nitrogen into soluble compounds. Now we have seen that what are the different ways by which it is fixed, and the bacteria which are involved here are Rhizobium, Azotobacter, and Cyanobacteria. The next one is nitrogen assimilation. That is usage of nitrogen by plants and animals in their vital activities. Here all the plants and animals are used here, using nitrogen for their purpose, and the nitrogen is being used for their growth and development. The third step is ammonification. Ammonification, which is conversion of nitrogenous compound into ammonia after decomposition process. Of plants and animals. Now the bacteria which are helping here are the bacteria which is called as decaying bacteria, and Clostridium and Pseudomonas are the examples of decaying bacteria or bacteria which is doing ammonification. So the next will be nitrification. Step which will be involved into it is nitrification. So what is nitrification? It is conversion of ammonia into nitrites and then into nitrates. So two processes happening here, ammonia into nitrites and nitrates into nitrates. So in first Nitrosomonas and in second Nitrobacter helps. So they are called as nitrifying bacteria. And the last step is denitrification. Again, that is conversion of nitrates into atmospheric nitrogen and bacteria which help in this process are Achromobacter and Pseudomonas. So they are called as denitrifying bacteria. These are called as nitrifying bacteria. These are called as denitrifying bacteria. So this is all about the nitrogen cycle. Here we have seen that how bacteria are helping the nitrogen cycle to completely undergo the process. and here we are getting the nutrients. All the living organisms are getting the nutrients with the help of bacteria. Now in this chapter we have seen how microorganisms, which are a vital part of our living world, are having playing both of the roles. They are helping us also and they are harmful to us also, but we have also seen that how we can use them for our betterment and how we can protect ourselves from their harmful effects. So this is all about this chapter, which is microorganisms.